I don't know. So many things are happening.
Well, thank you so much. It's so good to see you, my man. It's been so long.
It's good to see you as well, Greg.
Thank you for joining us all the way from Salinas, California. We are recording this for our friends at Rosa Scott, Germantown High School, and Ridgeland High School as well. And I've got a room full here with me of Velma Jackson.
Okay.
And we just, we talked yesterday, we just started talking about the agriculture career cluster. And you are a Mississippian that's taking, agriculture is taking you all the way to the West Coast. So
That's right.
before we get into your what you do as a soil analyst, can we hear a little bit about your background and where you're from and where you went to school and all that cool stuff?
So I'm excited to be here with you all first off. And Greg, it's always good to see you. But before I get professional, I'm going to do one thing for all you Mississippians, whether you're from Velma, from Germantown, all the other schools. You see this shirt? I'm repping Port Gibson, baby, PG, Mississippi. That's what's up. That's where I'm from. So I'm repping that. All right. So give me one moment. Now I'm gonna get professional. Give me one moment. Now to talk business, Greg. Now I'm talking business. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate
you got a
that
great
moment.
reaction in the room on that. That's pretty good.
Listen, I was excited to do that. Port Gibson, Mississippi. Now I will tell you all. So I have an affection for the area, for Velma Jackson. When I was in Mississippi, I worked in Canton, Mississippi. I went to church at Sacred Heart in Camden. So some of the students from Velma Jackson was there, and I just have an affection for Madison County. Germantown was right down the street from where I lived in Lake Caroline. So I have an affection for the area. So I'm just excited to be here with you, Greg. So again, thank you. Now, where am I from? I'm from Port Gibson, Mississippi. 43 years old. Didn't grow up farming. Never thought I'd be in the situation that I'm in, but it's been a blessing. So I'm ready to do the interview, ask questions, or whatever you need me to do, Greg.
Well, we want to know where you went to. Obviously, you went to Port Gibson High School. So just talk about your college experience and how you got your degree in agriculture.
Okay, so junior year in high school, economics class, the teacher told us to research a major and decide what career field we wanted to go in. And I had all these big ideas of being a pharmacist, being in business, being an attorney, but then I just started researching agriculture. And I had an auntie that worked for the IRS, and she always said, "Alan, you just have this great personality. I could really see you working in DC. So I think you should just major in the field of agriculture." So economics class, Mr. Warner was the teacher. I started doing researching for majors, and I looked into the field of agriculture. So I started looking at ag business, ag econ, animal science. Then I looked at plant and soil forestry, and I looked at plant and soil science. And I felt that plant and soil science would put me in an area where there were many jobs that I could apply for and possibly get. So going out of that economics class, I knew that I was going to major in agriculture, major in plant and soil science. And I had one goal, you all, and that was to walk across the stage with a full-time job.
Wow.
So with the blessings of God and commitment, that happened. So how did I get there? My senior year, I stayed committed to it, applied to Alcorn. I will tell you all this. I loved blue and white, meaning I love Jackson State. I just knew I'd go to Jackson State. My dream college was Tuskegee, but I just knew I'd go to Jackson State. But then when I started doing the research, and Alcorn was the place.
And Jackson State does not have an ag program.
That's right. Jackson State had business. I ended up going to Alcorn State University for a degree in agriculture. I do not like purple and gold, but I believe purple and gold. I mean, just the experience and the way life is, you all. So I want you to be open to conditioning yourself to be open to what life can bring and what it can present to you. I went to Alcorn. It was the greatest decision I made in my life. So when I got there, I was determined to have a degree and go on an intern every year. I went into Mr. Peters' office, and me going to Mr. Peters' office was like What kind of details you got? What kind of interns do you have? Where can I go during the summer? So again, you all, now if you all notice, I'm being assertive. I'm going with an intent on what I want to do. So I went to them. They don't come to you, you go to them. Life is about fostering relationships. Absolutely. And we can talk about that all day, fostering relationships. I was going to them. Hey, what can I do? What can I do? Had this big books of majors, had this big book of interns during the summer employment. My first summer, I went to Ogden, Utah. I worked for the Forest Service in Ogden, Utah.
Wow.
And I was doing tree surveys. And I actually didn't go to Ogden, but we were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Wow.
So it was just the experience of leaving Mississippi and going somewhere for the summer and getting paid. I stayed in a camper trailer, met some great people. Some friends are still friends today. I met people from Alcorn that were there. And we were in areas that were, I would say, where they were fighting fires and whatnot, but we were doing tree surveys. But during that time, I learned that that wasn't the area for me. And that's what life is about, getting experiences, talking to people. And those individuals that were there, they were away from their families for long periods of time. My goal and my dream was to be 22 years old with a white picket fence and a family. And, you know, so I felt like that didn't work for me with being away from home so many periods of time and then coming back home on the weekends, maybe every 2 or 3 months. So I decided against that. So when I got back, I started looking at other majors and encountered a young man in college that said, Alan, I interned with the NRCS as a soil scientist. You should consider soils. So guess what? My friend ended up leaving and going to work for John Deere. I took the job as a soil scientist in Natchez. And from that point on, 1999, because I graduated high school in 97, 1999, I started my intern with the NRCS in Natchez, Mississippi as a soil scientist, mapping soils.
Wow.
Today is 2022. I still work for the federal government today.
Wow. That's
same agency since 1999. So it tells you all how time flies. So with that, I did the interns every summer. And my senior year, which was 2001, I ended up not having enough soils classes because, and it's something that you all need to start doing. If you're going to go into a major, if you already know what you want to choose, go ahead and start looking at the curriculum for that college. And for the career that you want, look at the curriculum now to see what classes are needed. Again, you have to be intentful. I went there with the mindset that I was only going to take what I needed. I didn't go to college to play around. Now, grant you, it's the best experience in life because that's the time where you're learning to be an adult. You're making decisions on your own. You're being independent. But you have to have a plan. You have to stick to that plan. So I'm putting points out there now that I can come back to later for you all.
Oh, yeah.
But I looked at the curriculum and I knew what classes I was going to take. No, if the class didn't benefit me from the standpoint of getting my job, I didn't take it. I only took the classes that I needed. So fast forward to 2001, and I needed 2 more courses to be a soil scientist, not for a soil conservationist, but for a soil scientist, because you needed, I guess, maybe a couple more hours. So I did not graduate in 2001 like expected, which was 4 years. I ended up having to go back because at the time, Alcorn didn't have a fall commencement. So I ended up having to go to school in August, and I took 2 courses, and the government worked it out where I could work part-time. So I was working part-time with the agency in Port Gibson and Fayette while I was in college. Then in January, they received paperwork that I was on task to graduate. I started working full-time January of 22, got my degree in May, and I was already working full-time.
That's awesome.
That's God and that's planning. So that career spawned from me being a soil scientist from 2002 to 2004. In that time, I would tell you all I had a roadblock. So in this career or in life, you do have to walk by faith and not by sight. For those that are religious, if not, just be committed to your plan. That first year, hit a roadblock. I got to not achieve my first year. Now, in that first year of career with the government, you have temporary, career conditional, and permanent. Those are 3 years. The first year, they can get rid of you. So the first year, I got to not achieve. I like to think that it was my supervisor's fault. People around me like to think that it was my supervisor's fault. But at the end of the day, I had to look in the mirror and see, what did I do? So let me tell you what Alan did. Alan was from Fort Gibson, Mississippi. Alan had played Kappa in college, and I was right at home. Alan was going to the campus, hanging out in the evening time, drinking a little beer, partying, hanging out, running the street, going to work in the morning, 7:30, sometime 8 o'clock late. Yeah, I didn't reach my goals that year. I feel in my heart, I feel that it was some things working against me and some others in the office, but at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for your actions. Yep. So when I looked in the mirror, took a look at myself, I knew that I was late sometime. I probably even went to work reaping of alcohol sometime, possibly. So everything that happened to me that first year was a reflection of my choices. I wanted the career, but I didn't necessarily do the things that I needed to do that first year in order for me to be successful. So I got to not achieve that year. Instead of me being mad with the supervisor, I looked at myself and I was committed to doing a better job. So they gave me an opportunity to improve. After that opportunity to improve, I converted to a soil conservationist in 2004 and moved to Lucedale, Mississippi. Lucedale. Where's Lucedale? The middle of nowhere, they say.
Middle, you never find it if you don't know where it is.
But guess what? That move, again, was another move that was great for my career, great for me as an individual. I left home. I got out of my mom's house. I was able to make some more decisions and just do some things independently. I met some great people that I'm still friends with today. I worked in Lucedale from 2004 to 2007. Opportunity came up for a promotion. I got married during that time, and I moved to Canton from 2007 to 2000, I would say 14. And I worked in Canton, another family, grew to love people in that area, worked as a soil conservationist in Canton. Then I applied for a position at the area office as a resource soil scientist. So my career went from soils to soil con, back to soil scientist. As a resource soil scientist, I was working with all the field office being the specialist for the soils, whether it be soil interpretations for erosion, for ponds, for plant growth and things of that nature. So I did that from 2014 to 2019 when I moved to California. And during that time, I just felt like I almost had 20 years in the agency, and I felt like my career was at a standstill. I didn't know what was next. I didn't see any growth. Had gone through life experiences of losing my wife, and I just realized that I was in a kind of a crazy place. And I was 40 years old and started wearing glasses when I turned 40. Yeah. So I knew that there was something different. So I took a detail in California as a resource soil scientist, the same position that I was in. It was a lateral. And that experience just opened my eyes to something different. I was able to see life from a different perspective. And what I will tell y'all, I'm Fort Gibson through and through. I love my hometown, PG, baby, big city, whatever you want to call it, whatever, but I'm PG. But I've always told people you can be from somewhere, but not of there.
Absolutely.
So a preacher once told me, and if you all can write this down, I pray you do. He said, consistent mediocrity is the death knell to audacious possibility. Audacious or audacious, however you want to pronounce it. But consistent mediocrity, if you choose to do bare minimum, if you choose to be mediocre, if you choose to limit yourself in your life, then you can't expect great things for yourself. Understand that? So you can be from somewhere, but not be of there.
Yep.
So choose to educate yourself, choose to facilitate relationships, foster relationships. And that's one thing I want you all to remember if you don't remember anything else. Foster relationships. So again, went to, did the detail in Fresno, California, and I knew that my time was up in Mississippi. Never thought that I'd leave Mississippi. Never thought that I would leave Mississippi. I mean, Greg could tell you, I felt like I had it made. I was refereeing basketball. Everybody knew me. I was I was pretty fairly good referee. Did a little college ball. I had a window cleaning business on the side. I was hustling. Life was good in my mind, but the inner me knew that there was something more. I never thought I would have left Mississippi, but you have to be open for change. And as you go through life, you'll continuously evolve. And with that evolution, it'll be learning new people, dealing with new people that'll assist in your growth. So fast forward, did the detail. When I came back, I felt different. All my friends knew Alan is gone. So I applied for a job in the area. Deuces, Greg. You remember, I was like, hey, I'm out. So I applied for a job as a district conservationist, another career change to district conservation, which operates a field office, the office in Candace and Industrial Parkway, right behind Love's Truck Stop. But I applied for a district conservationist position, and in an area that nobody want to go to. It's hot. The temperature where I am, I'm in a desert. The temperature is about 120 degrees where I am right now. Oh yes, but guess what? It's near Palm Springs, where the Kardashians always talk about they are some of these celebrity shows, or where Beyonce Bay did the Coachella Fest, or where Kanye did the Coachella Fest. That's right here in my backyard. Yep. So that's where I am. The area is amazing. It's beautiful. It's just hot, but nobody want to come here. I applied for the job one time. They didn't select anyone. Seriously, they turned it back. They didn't choose me. They turned it down. So I applied again and got the job. And I traveled here on February 14th of 2019. That was the day I left.
Wow. And
I made it to California. So my goal when I took this job was to stay in this position 3 years. That was my goal, 3 years, because I felt like I was had been with the agency 20 years. I wanted to do more. I felt like my gifts wasn't used correctly where I felt like I needed to be helping people. And that's the position I'm in now, to able to help people, whether it be from Mississippi or other places. I'm in a great position, you all. So I worked as a district conservationist for 2 years. And last year I did detail out of my office as the assistant state con for field operations for Area 4, which is in Southern California. I did a great job. I was very intent on doing a great job, not just filling a position for 120 days. I wanted to be great. And that fueled a whole other desire in me for my next move, which by November 21st of 2021, I accepted the position as assistant state con for field operations in Salinas, California. That's Area 2. So what is that role? It's almost like I'm a mini state conservationist. In this role, I'm able to hire employees, fire employees, discipline employees, encourage employees, get you on training plans, all the day-to-day operation of the area. I have like 13 counties, maybe about 80 or 90 employees. I'm facilitating their trainings, I'm facilitating their growth, I'm facilitating choosing who goes in what offices. I have to deal with partners. That's why I said, let me get professional, because I have to deal with the congressional districts. I have to deal with local partners and report these things back to our state conservations. I mean, he has a hard job running the state. And he just has these 4 people, myself, Curtis, Johnny, and Tony, which are all great individuals that are in the same capacity I am. Now, will I tell you this, and this is something that I'm proud of, especially Greg, I'm going to send you the announcement so you can show them later on. That melts my heart, and I know it melts the heart of my family, especially my mom. The announcement that said Alan Kerr has been selected assistant state con for field operation. The little guy from Fort Gibson, Mississippi, the big city, that dreamed big but never thought that he would leave Mississippi. It's what I'm trying to tell you all. I've only been here 3 years. So, commit yourself. God is a blessing if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, just plan and stick to your plan. But yeah, Greg, so I'm in this position and I'm able to encourage students, hire students, help them through that process of high school to college. And I will tell y'all one more thing. That's the most important thing. When I took my job, after all those years, I did like 4 years of interns. And when I got ready to get hired full time, those applications says college degree, experience, or a GPA, right? I did the bare minimum. In college, I did the bare minimum. I was mediocre, I did enough. So because of that, when they brought me in full time, in spite of all the time I had, they gave me the lowest grade possible. So if you coming in the agency, get your books. It's an easy thing. Your degree shows that you can commit yourself to something. Get your books, do your lesson. So so they brought me in entry level. When I applied for this job, assistant state con field operation, a major position, I will tell you all this. California is an executive state. Texas is an executive state. Most states, the Assistant State Consul for Field Operations is a GS-13. California and Texas, because they're an executive state, there are nine of these positions, and they are GS-13/14. Alan Curry from Fort Gibson, Mississippi, is in one of those positions.
That's awesome.
It's a blessing. It's a great thing. So, but when I looked at my resume and my transcript, I was embarrassed. I was like, I wouldn't hire me. My transcript was horrible.
I say all the time about taking education seriously now pays great dividends in the future.
Greg, my transcript was horrible. I did the bare minimum. Seriously, the best year of my transcript in college was the year that I pledged. Other than that, seriously, it was horrible. But here's the thing, you all. I went to class every day. I sat in the front of the class every day, but I was not taking school serious. One of my friends from high school, years later, said to me, and life happens. We all go different places. Now, was he a best friend? No, but he was a friend. And we were talking after things that I had dealt with in life. He said, Alan, he said, bro, honestly, I feel like you've been an underachiever. Boom, slap in the face, punch in the jaw, stab in the back. You could think that when people tell you something that they're hating on you, they dislike you or whatever. The man was telling the truth. When I look back, what were my grades? They were horrible. Where I tell you I was sitting? The front of the class. What was I doing? Nothing. I underachieved. I used my skill set, my personality, my conversation, my charm to get by in situations. That ain't hitting on jack, y'all. Commit yourself and do the things that you got to do to be the best representation of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know, again, going back to my first year when I got to not achieve, blame somebody else or look in the mirror. I looked in the mirror. Absolutely. So, you know, I got a whole lot of points, but Greg, I mean, I know y'all want to ask questions. I don't know how much time I have.
We have a lot, but I do want to get to some of these questions. And these are all
okay. Before we get there, Greg, I want a young lady. I think, hey, Yamna, are you here?
Who?
A young lady. I added someone that works with us. Yamna, are you present?
She was on for a second. She got off though.
Okay. Well, I wanted her to jump on. She's a young lady from Arkansas that works in California. She was on a detail. Now she works with us in California. And guess what, you all? She called me all the time. She fostering a relationship. I don't have to think who she is because I know because we're always talking. And I just wanted to highlight her, but she got off. Okay. Yeah. So I'm ready, Greg. I apologize.
Okay, well, this first one is from Montarius Page. And these are all ninth graders. And this is a great question about what you do. He said, which work setting do you prefer most, outside or inside?
Outside. I would say that outside is where you get the experience. For my job, having that experience working outside, from doing soils to going to the field, working with farmers, whether it be, you know, some of you all may already farm or have family that got crops or even horses or cows. So I enjoy working outside with those farmers, doing fences, setting up water troughs, heavy use areas and things of that nature. I enjoyed that. Now, this part of my job, this second phase of my life, it's been great. I get a chance to dress up because I'm telling y'all, in high school, I wanted to look good. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to wear fresh clothes. I wanted to look good. Like, man, I wanted people to be like, what is this cat going to wear to work next? What is he going to wear to work next? But I ended up with boots on, dirty fingernails, dirty clothes because I was soil scientist. So the second phase of being able to dress up, I love it. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But getting the groundwork, getting that experience in the field, going through the process is beneficial.
Absolutely. All right. This is Amaya Dixon, and she asked, what opportunities are there for females in your area?
The state of California and the NRCS as a whole believes in diversity and inclusion. You know, there's opportunities for everyone, not just males, not just race. We look at individuals as who they are, and that's something that, you know, in Mississippi we're a tough state. We're a tough-minded state. We're a state of personality yet distinction. And we don't sometimes see across those lines of diversity and differences. And that's something that I saw in California. Everybody's different. mean, I see people with long hair, I see people with dreads, I see people with tattoos all across their chest, and they work for the same agency. In Mississippi, I was thinking one way. Alan Curry doesn't have earrings, never had them. Alan Curry got tattoos, but Alan Curry would try to do things a certain way, which sometimes would compromise who you truly are. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself, but be the best representation of yourself. So there are numerous positions, there are numerous opportunities for you in the agency.
Okay, yeah, and that's great. Now, this is from John Taylor, and he asked, what are the requirements to become a soil conservationist?
Soil conservation, the requirements are having a degree in some form of natural resources, having, I think, about 12 semester hours of soils and 30 something hours of ag related courses, whether it be ag mechanics, plant courses, crop courses, things of that nature. I don't have it right in front of me, but I can send you a little document that shows the qualifications and everything, Greg.
Yeah, I know Mississippi State and Alcorn do have very similar programs.
Say it again, excuse me.
Mississippi State and Alcorn both have very similar programs in their requirements.
So Alcorn and Mississippi State are both ag colleges. Both of them are exceptionally well colleges. I mean, I have employees that work with me back in Mississippi that work for Mississippi State. The training systems for both schools are great. It's just a choice of where you choose to go.
Absolutely. This is from Christian Dawson, and he asked, does the soil conservationist have more time with the actual soil or working in the lab?
So you have, I would say in the field. Soil conservationists now, we're more so field oriented. We work with the farmers. We work on the land. The motto of the NRCS is helping the people help the land. So we're out on the grounds doing work. Now there are some areas in college, you may be in the lab, working in the lab as a soil scientist,
okay,
as a soil scientist and not a soil con. And I have friends, again, when I was a soil scientist, you do lab work because you'll go to the field, you'll get soil samples, you may come back and break them down, and they still have actual soil scientists that are still in the field doing some of that work. So yeah.
Okay. Now this is Anthony Walker, and I know you did talk briefly about this, how you worked in other areas of ag in college. What made you, he asked, what made you pick the area of soil?
The area of soil of the NRCS
It's focusing on soil and not doing the forestry.
Okay. Well, okay, because I just did the little research, and when you think forestry, you only think trees or forestry. I looked at it from the standpoint, if I majored, and again, I researched the majors. Plant and soil science had a diversity of everything. You had crops courses, you had plant courses, you had soil courses, okay, which everything agronomically go into plant-soil relation, whether it be forestry, whether it be animal science, whether it be ag science. So everything kind of revolved around soil. So that's the reason why I went in soil, because it was more diverse. So if I was eligible as a plant and soil science major, I qualify for any other jobs.
Wow, that's awesome. This is Brian McMurtry, and he has two questions. And the first one is, what is the most common problem you run into with soil? And the second one is, what makes soil different from other soils?
The properties and the location. So when you look at soils, you look at where they're located, textures of soils, colors of soils. All those properties are different. And if you go to this website called Web Soil Survey, you click on Web Soil Survey, it's basically a map of Mississippi or the map of the US. And you can put in your parents' address and it'll bring up the soil type. And when you look at the soil type, it'll show all the properties and classification of those soils from maybe 1 inch down to 75 inches. And that's where you find the descriptions of those soils. You have some soils that are wet soils. You have some soils that are located in the toe slope. You have some soils that are located on the side, terraces, upland hills. So soils vary based on some of those properties.
All right.
Both questions?
Oh, he asked, what's the most common problem you run into with soil?
It varies. I mean, it all depends on the classification of that soil and what you're doing. Okay. So again, soils is relation with our job. At one point, soil science used to actually do house sites for the rural development, which assists people with housing. The NRCS used to actually do house borings on soil for suitability, because again, with soils, you have soils that shrink and swell, which you all are very familiar with living in the Madison-Hinds County area, where we have those soils that shrink and swell. Yeah. Then you have some sandier soils. So you have erosive soils like where I'm from in Port Gibson along the bluffs of the Mississippi River, those loose soils that are very silty. So it all depends on what soil you're dealing with, the problems that you may have. So, like if you think about the bluff hills of the Mississippi River, you always hear about the erosion, or in California where they talk about, a road is closed because it just basically fell off into the ocean. Silty soils are like baby powder. If you all have ever touched some of those silty soils. So with us, we're always trying to find ways to stabilize those soils. In Port Gibson and along the Mississippi River, they did the kudzu. They planted kudzu to control erosion around those areas. It ended up being an invasive species, just kind of took over everything. But those are some of the things that you deal with. So it all depends, young man, on what you're trying to do.
Now, this one's kind of funny. This is Alonzo Johnson, and he asked, what state in the United States has the worst soil?
I don't know. I mean, let's Google it. I have no idea.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're almost out of time, but we would be remiss. There is one last thing I want to hit on. I do want to talk about your HBCU based on a PWI experience. Now, obviously, you did go the HBCU route, but like you said, Mississippi State also has a great agriculture program. So what do you think are some of the pros and cons of an HBCU versus a PWI college experience?
Okay, it depends on the person. Again, it just depends on the person and what you want for yourself. The culture of an HBCU is nothing like it. I mean, thinking back on my time in college, some of the friends I have then are still my friends today. Just the culture, I've had friends to go to Mississippi State and they came back, and the tailgating and things that they experienced with me at all was totally different from Mississippi State. Now, when it comes to your career, you do what's best for your career. You look at the majors, you find out which college is specializes in your area, and you make your decision based upon that. Life is about choices. At the end of the day, you decide what's best for you. Make a plan, stick to your plan. I can't put one over the other because, again, there was an instructor, quickly, William Kingery at Mississippi State. I encountered him during my career. I would actually call Kingery for advice, talking to him all the time. And we formed a relationship where we talk basketball and things, but he's a brilliant mind. And I didn't go to Mississippi State. So it's just really about the choices you make in fostering relationships and just where you want to be. Absolutely. So I can't put one over the other, but my experience with HBCU was it was everything for me at a college that I didn't want to go to.
And that's the funniest part. But yeah, I just like hearing different perspectives on that because a majority of our speakers are African American, and I've heard the PWI argument and I've heard the HBCU argument, and I just think it's best for our kids to get both sides of it to hear the pros and cons.
Do your research.
Oh, absolutely. Now, before we go, and we thank you so much for joining us. I just do have one last question, and that is, just like everybody that's watching with me right now, and like a lot of the ones that are going to watch later, everybody in this room is young, Black, in rural Mississippi, just like you were, however many years ago, because we're dating ourselves. But even if they have no desire to ever go into soil or ag or anything, what can they do right now to prepare to be as successful as you've become when, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they face these obstacles that young Black kids are going to face in this country?
Okay. Excuse me. What I will tell you is this. First, success is not based on a measure or by anybody else. Success is on you. Whatever you choose to do for yourself, if you commit to it, that's success. Let's begin there. So my next thing is make a plan, work a plan. Stay committed to it. Life is always going to have obstacles, but if you know what you want to do, stay committed to it. Foster relationship, deal with people, and always be comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't choose the person that's your friend or the person that you grew up with your whole life to make your mentor. Choose people that are sometimes different, like the kid that's sitting in front of class is real smart, that only raises their hand when they want to tell the answer. I want to sit by that person and find out, how do you study? How do you take notes? Oh, how do you manage your email? How do you manage your study time? How do you study for a test? Because iron sharpens iron. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Let your weakness become your strength. Don't get with your buddy that the best basketball player and you the best football player, because I know y'all sports are good out there, and choose to let that person help you guide through life. Unless that person is sitting with people that's in class, like, you know what? I'm a good studier. I'm a good listener. I'm a good writer. These are the things that you have to do in order for you to be successful. Continue to evolve. There was something else I was going to tell you, Greg. I'm sorry I drew a blank, but your careers are what you make of them. Choose to be around people that can help you, show that you're teachable, show that you want to learn, and show that you're committed to excellence. And and I will tell you all something else. As you go through life and you have positive people around you, you're going to be amazed at how things evolve. You step on somebody, the person you step on may be your supervisor one day. So always treat people kind. And I will say that my last thing, you all, is my friends are my mentors. They're my brother. They're my best friends. And we've learned a lot of life lessons together, male and female. We've gone through life and we've learned together. I mean, Greg, you and I had our conversations, your father, all of us had conversations. So in life, fostering relationships and deal, you can learn so much just by being open to other people and what they had to offer. But, choose a college that's best for you. I'm Alcorn. I love purple and gold now. I don't wear it, but I love it to death. Alcorn was the best thing for my life. The best thing happened to me. And when I come back home, it feels so good to be in that environment. I was at the Jackson State Alcorn game. I almost had tears in my eyes just feeling that energy, because when you leave, sometimes you miss it. It's like, oh man, I felt so good being there. But Greg, I thank you for letting me sit here with your students today.
Please give LaToya my best, and we miss you so much out here. Hopefully, whenever you're back, I'd love to see you. You're a huge influence for a lot of people, and everything you get, you deserve. You're just an amazing person.
And Greg, I will send you my email address, or I can tell you it's Allen, ALLEN .CURRY @USDA.gov. You all can email me. I'm not giving you my personal number. That's my email address. And when you send me an email, if I respond, it'll have my work cell on there. Give it to your parents. Your parents want to call, because I'm sure your parents are probably some people I already know anyway. But, give them information if you all want talk, you want guidance, because we're looking for people that want to move. And one more thing, Greg, I know you got to go, is don't be afraid to move. Mississippi, you know what we want to do? We want to stay within 6 hours. We want to go to Atlanta. We want to go to Memphis, which is 4 hours. We want to go to Houston, which is 7, or Dallas. We don't want to go any further. Be open to change. Be open to learning. Be open to moving. I am, 1,700 miles away from my mom, and I love my mama to death. But I jump on a plane. You can get back home.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Alan Curry. Unbelievable to see you. Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon, my friend.
And I have my exit song, but I'm on my tablet. I was going to play "Getting It" by Too Short. You should be getting it while the getting is good. Getting it while you can. You should be getting it. Get it, you all. It's yours. Do whatever you want to do. But that was my exit song, Greg. I'm gonna drop the pin on that one.
All right. See you, my man. Always a pleasure.
Take care. All right.